All right, we are live. Welcome, new Templars. I'm Dylan Lewis Monroe, aka A145, the map maker, here with the one and only Jason Q to do a breakdown of everything that has happened in the past week, which is a lot. It's been a much busier week than most, I would say. It seems like things are going down every day to interpret, and so we're going to do our best to break this down for you. How are you doing, Jason Q?
Good, good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I've been better in the past. In 2023, I'm actually feeling the inflation, the small businesses going bankrupt, but I'm trying to stay optimistic here. And there's things to be optimistic about, and there's things to be a little concerned about. But we're going to give you guys our honest take, and we're not going to sugarcoat shit. And I'm not going to come from this position of like, I'm 100% trust the plan all the time. Like there's things I question, and so I want to analyze all of this. But, for everything that I question, the maestro does something that I'm like, wow, like this would never have happened if we had one of these dirtbag, like Illuminati New World Order presidents. Specifically, like one of the big wins this week was the autism press conference, which we're going to get into. But we're going to get into the or the Charlie Kirk Memorial. I've said
Ooh.
Charlie Ward so many times. Like I think a
Oh
lot of
man.
people. I've heard other channels switching up the names, but yeah, the
Oh
Charlie Kirk
no.
Memorial, the autism announcement, the UK trip, and the finally the UN speech. So it has been a busy, busy week and so many comps. I think honestly, like I want to start with the Charlie Kirk Memorial because, a lot of people were expecting like a normal memorial, but it kind of turned into like an RNC rally or like a Trump rally. It was much more political than your typical memorial, even for someone that is political. Like it turned into like a, classical Trump speech. But that was loaded with comms from so many of the different speakers, even, symbolism on the stage, both dark and light, so much to interpret from that. And so we'll look at a few pictures and maybe a couple clips, but
Sweet.
um, let's kick it off. Well, actually, before we get to that, I do want to address Cranker Pit, and this is just me and Jason Q now. Obviously, a few things have changed since the past 10 weeks. I think we went 10 or 11 episodes with Cranker Pit, and ultimately we had a couple creative differences. And I'm not opposed to doing videos with him again in the future, but for now we've broken things up a little. It was always my channel, but like Cranker was running the discussions, and it started as let's do this group call about sovereignty with a bunch of independent researchers, and then over time it morphed into these like interviews with pretty high profile characters. And I just felt like it got to be a little too many chefs in the kitchen that, obviously like the last one with Sheila Holmes, we didn't get to say too much. So Jason, would you like to address that last video before we move into this new one?
Yeah, yeah, I just felt that was really disrespectful that none of us were even introduced, nevertheless even said a word. I mean, the whole thing with retired General Paul Vallely, if we had him for a half hour, I had questions all made up and everything like that, and he let Anna talk for like 15, 20 minutes. So I just I take it as, lesson learned, and yeah, I won't make that mistake again. Other people forgiving it, it's like we got way too much on our plate, so it's like that's why we thought we'd just do our own show.
It can get tough with those big
Yeah.
group calls. And I know he's coming from that background at QSI where they do like these huge panel calls with like 12 people. And I mean, those go on like for 6 hours and stuff. And it's like, I got like, if I'm on the camera, like I want to be talking. And so it just got to be a little too many, like I said, too many chefs in the kitchen. And so,
Yeah,
and just a little few creative differences as well. Like we're not going to be
yeah,
playing, the God Bless America, like at the end of every episode here on New Templars, because we're more into like the techno. So,
yeah, the information and all
and
that
the
too.
information. Yeah.
And then having it in other languages, it's like, even then, it's like, well, why do we have to do all this stuff in Portuguese? You know, I mean, we're fighting for America. It's like, well, that's fine all if you want to do that, but I mean, if we're not going to be let in on it, because the thing, I mean, I talked to Cranker for a good hour and a half that day because we were on vacation. So I, had to take time away from the vacation about a day, get everything in order because I didn't have anything on it. I mean, I had stuff at home, but not on the road. And, you know, there was the Time Is Out podcast. They canceled theirs because we were like, hey, this is gonna be massive. And then, even Dina's whole family was watching. It's like, come on. If we're on vacation, you start scheduling this shit, it's like, why? And then to actually leave it like that, I mean, it's nothing but disrespect. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm done with them. I mean, I'm not, if you're going to sit here and try to leech views off of our name on it or something like that, just go to hell. If you're not putting the work in, then you're trying to act like you're the one with everything. It's like, buddy, you've been on the wrong side of a lot of things lately. So, you
Well,
know,
I mean, he was putting a lot of work in. He's very passionate about it. And like you said, there would be multi-hour long calls like before these videos even happened. And then, they would happen and not, everyone wouldn't get to speak as much. And it's not like, oh, I want to speak, like I want the spotlight on me, but it is like I want to use my time productively.
yeah,
And, we had some big videos that I didn't even get to like plug my website at all. And like the videos with the cranker pit weren't really helping my sales either. And like he would say privately, like, oh, I want to help you with sales, but then like not give me an opportunity to like put in a plug for my website. And the reason why it ended for me was that um I was having kind of a financial crisis. I've been having to withdraw from crypto. I had to sell an ounce of gold last week because like my business is not making enough to pay the bills.
yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry, but like paying the bills is going to take priority over a video that's not going to make me any money. And it's not just about money for me, but it's about survival at this point. And he got bent out of shape because I didn't get him like the Zoom link and like the day before when like, I had the Zoom link ready an hour or 4 hours before, 4 hours before, and yeah, whatever. I don't want to go into too much details, but yeah, it was he's doing his thing. We're gonna be doing our thing. I'm doing my thing. We're doing this video together this time, and yeah, I wish them luck. I wish everyone could like. There's a lot of division in the truth movement right now, and in society at large.
Yeah.
Obviously the big wedge is between Republicans and Democrats, but even like within Republicans now, like this Charlie Kirk thing has really divided people, and half the big truther channels are kind of going with like the mainstream. I'm not even sure like what their theory is. Like
Lone
like this
gunman.
the lone gunman retard theory. I'm sort of straddled between the everything is a magic show of the white hats and this actually was Israel, or maybe it's somewhere in between that. Like Israel wanted to do it, and Charlie Kirk was maybe somehow compromised, and so the white hats let them do it. That's a possibility to me. And like the last possibility, which I'll put it out there, is the white hats are actually the dark hats, and it's all just like the same old bullshit we've been watching for the past 70 years.
Yeah.
Now, there's reasons that that's not exactly possible, but it's gotten very complex. And so let's dive into some analysis of this actual memorial service.
Oh, right.
What aspects really stood out to you, Jason?
Uh, Stephen Miller's speech.
See, I
Stephen
missed
Miller's,
some of them, so yeah, fill
oh,
me in.
Stephen Miller's speech. He came out like guns a blazing.
Because he's like original Q team. And on Trump's way to that event, they recreated like that original Q photo of him sitting at the desk on Air Force One. Now he had
Yeah.
different people behind him, but Kushner was in there, who was one of the originals. And on the phone, it said, I think like 1017 or something, like 1117. So yeah,
Yeah.
what did Stephen Miller have to say?
Oh, I mean, he just went all out. Like he was just, I mean, he just browbeat him. He's like, you guys aren't gonna. I mean, it was passionate. Let me see if I could find it. But yeah, it's It was really, really good because what we did was we ran it live when they had it. So we went ahead and just you know, all of us watched it on Sunday because I mean, how can you have a show and then, it's kind of
I mean, that was the event to watch. And I did watch a significant chunk of it, but I mean, that went on for long. I was doing yard work in between. There was even at one point I was doing yard work, holding my phone, like listening to Trump speak outside. Um, and I thought Trump's speech too was, not your standard rally speech. There was a lot in there that was new. And it's always kind of exciting when we get a new speech from Trump, because even though the UN speech was a good one, it was a lot of things we've heard before. But the one at Charlie Kirk's memorial, he introduced some new topics and ideas that I found pretty interesting. Specifically saying how he hates his enemies so much. He's
yes,
not as forgiving as Charlie, and I thought that was pretty
no.
interesting.
And that's the thing. Who were his enemies? Kind of now making sense, isn't it? Because now you have that flotilla going over there, over to Israel, right? You have Spain and Italy sending warships with them because Israel's been, firebombing them, dropping, using sound machines in international waters, no less, a la USS Liberty. So in the drops, it says, how do you destroy a blockade? Right? You use a stealth bomber. Well, Israel has a blockade of Gaza. So that's this whole flotilla. It's massive. It's coming in again twice. Everything's done twice. Coming in twice, and they're coming with over 50 ships, probably 55. So with the military there and everything, because they have all this on footage. I mean, the one time they said that this one ship burned because they said they had a cigarette on a drone, and they dropped the cigarette on this boat. Like, uh, they're they've got to be the dumbest imbeciles out there. Has to be. But I
Well,
did find that scene
another
more.
thing that's, I know you're kind of tying this to Israel, but another thing that's kind of been looked over there is when Israel bombed Qatar to try to take out Hamas leadership. And of course, Qatar's pissed off. And then Saudi Arabia made an announcement, which, bin Salman, um, Mohammed bin Salman, is, one of Trump's tightest allies in this Q alliance that we've known for a long time. And now
Yeah,
he has said we're breaking ties with Israel, and it's really looking like the Saudis and the Qataris may do some kind of retaliatory strike against Israel or start helping the Palestinians a little bit more. And so this could all be coming to a head with, all the forces coming against Israel at once potentially sometime soon.
yeah. And Russia's already hit them. Russia hit Israel the other night. I mean, they had what 230 generals get killed. 230, go figure.
Hmm.
But that's the thing. It's like, you know, what Israel's doing, it's like, with Qatar, right? All of Trump's people were out there. They were hey, we're gonna go ahead and sit down. It's all about total diplomacy. But then Israel wants to strike here, strike there. Oh, we're going to Hamas. But there was no Hamas there. But the leader of Hamas, the original leader of Hamas, his son is a Mossad agent. So we talk about Hamas and all that. They're all radical groups of the Mossad. They've got to be. Because that's why Israel bombed Qatar is because there was a secret memo that came out, right? How Bibi sent a message to Qatar saying to release, was it $12 million to Hamas? And it's like, now you think about this $221 million that Obama gave the Palestinians when he left, right? Well, it didn't go to Palestine because all the money for Palestine goes through Israel first. So where did that money go? Did it go to Qatar? And then that's how they've been funding this, using their whole little ISIS, Israel Secret Intelligence Service. That's all this is. Even the Mossad, there was a video that came out, we saw it yesterday, and they even said, "Oh, the world's a stage. This is our play. We direct everything." It's like not for long, because even in the drops, there's a they have like mainstream media and all this other stuff, like a graph, and it has MOS at the top. That's Mossad. So they control the media because if they're the ones putting out all the fake news and everything, where's it all coming from? I mean, if they're trying to take over everything, they're the ones setting the narrative. It's them because the Mossad has nothing to do with Israel. Like the governance in Israel, Israel Supreme Court, nothing. They're totally like they can't prosecute Mossad for anything. So they're like they're their own masters of their own domain, and
Rogue.
it's not good. It's like Antifa because remember Antifa was training with ISIS. It's one big. It's the same group
It's the
because
Khazarian Mafia's hit squad.
yep,
And
they're
yeah,
little,
I've heard that, Israel and Bibi was somehow funneling Hamas money every month before October 7th.
yep,
They were funding them.
yeah.
And like a lot of more mainstream, even conspiracy theorists, like 107 won't admit that. He's like, oh no, Hamas this, Hamas that. I mean, one of the things that kind of pissed me off about Trump's UN speech, obviously, that America is still, supporting Israel and like vetoing all these things about recognizing Palestine as a state, but that he's talking about we need to release these 20 hostages when like literally 60,000 Palestinians are dead over 20 hostages. And that's not even like the 1 to 10,000 ratio of like how important Jews think they are. I mean, that's
Well, and the thing is that if they cut off all the food, right, then how are the hostages getting fed? And then explain this to us, because the Red Cross plays a huge part in this with Israel, with this God, what's his name? Come to me. It's he's a Jew. Joseph couple 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 Walter or something like that. And he was the head of IDF intelligence up until 2001. Imagine that. Then he started this GPS Global or GSP Global. This, you know, oh, we're gonna, they started doing shit down in Peru.
like some kind of Red Cross stuff.
Well, what they do is they go over and like train mercenaries, right? They're like, oh, we're gonna make sure that communism doesn't come here. Mao's communist and shit. Wrong. They're the ones that instill it. They're the ones instilling fear in all the people and everything. So the people that are rising up against them, they're not actually the revolutionaries. They're like the regular people saying, we don't want you here. And they had a big beef I believe in Chile or Peru, where they were using the Red Cross, like Red Cross vehicles, in order to kidnap people.
Oh, I mean, Red Cross is definitely dirty. We've known that for a long time.
Well, and then
Swiss organization.
yep. And then you look at the like when define exchange, right? Well, when they were saying they were doing these Hamas exchanges, right? Well, if this was all live and everything like that, like one big theatrical thing, Mossad, right? Theater, why didn't they bomb right there at that time? They already have the Hannibal directive. They have no problem killing their own. So why wouldn't they do it then? And why were Red Cross vehicles bringing these people there? Because now when you look at it, did they bring them in and then have them leave? Because they came out with like certificates and they were fine, all hugging everything. I'm like, there's a problem here. I thought these people were like, and then the one, she's like, oh, she had her finger down like this, like taped down, saying that, oh, she tried to stop a bullet and it blew her finger off. I'm like, get,
Well, there's definitely a lot of like theatrics and fakery happening in that war. I question how much of it is real, but I definitely am aware of the Twitter account called 𝕯𝖊𝖚 that shows essentially evidence of propaganda being staged and filmed. However, I don't, necessarily think like they haven't bombed the whole strip. Like the whole area has been demolished. And like some people in this truth movement, like specifically like Mike King and some others are saying like this war is fake, which I don't necessarily see how that's completely possible, but there's fake elements and there's real elements. And so it's very hard to discern what's actually happening there. But clearly on the surface, it's atrocious like genocide happening.
It is. And then when you look at it and they're like, we're targeting Hamas and they're in basements and hospitals. So you leveled every hospital in Gaza.
And it's like we've just heard recently, like, oh, they cut off the cell phone service there. And it's like, well, if this whole area has been rubble for at least like almost like a year, oh, did they just like magically avoid the cell phone towers up until now?
Yeah. Well, and then they cut off all the water. I mean, everything, because Israel controls everything. And it's like, you know, even if you look at Hamas, they're like, oh, they're terrorists. Like, but wait a second, you know, this is where you have to really think. It's like, okay, say you're at your house, right? And say somebody comes over and decides to just walk right in, lay on your couch, eat your food and everything like that, and they're there for 70 damn years, constantly fighting, trying to get you to leave, right? Well, aren't you going to put up a fight? It's the
Good
same
point.
thing. And when you look at it, it's like they come out in English and say, "Oh, blah 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 blah," but then when they start saying stuff in Hebrew, it's like they're psychopaths. That's when you know if you watch it in Hebrew and you get the subtitles and you start really understanding what they're saying. No, just make it a glass factory. Just not nuclear though. 1800 MK84s. That's why Trump's like, oh, 12-day war. It's like 6, 12, 18. USS Liberty in the 6-day war. Yeah, the 12-day war here, and he's got those 1800 MK84s that they never used. They said they were going to send to Israel, but they never said how they're going to get shipped.
So you think are predicting that another war is coming to Israel?
Oh no, no! I fucking hellfire is
You
coming to
know.
Israel.
And I think it was even on the same day as the Charlie Kirk Memorial that Israel started its like full invasion of like full takeover of the last portions of Gaza. Like some
Yeah,
happened within the last week. I mean, it didn't make news because there's so much else going on, but they're like no holds bar, like we're taking over this whole area.
yeah. That's not what Trump said at all. They keep on saying, "Oh, we have Trump's blessing." No, you don't. No.
Mm-mm.
And then they're over there, over in Jersey and New York. They're having these big conventions where, oh, you could buy a piece of Gaza. They're selling houses on the Mediterranean right there in Gaza, and they're selling the land.
They're already selling it.
Yep.
All right, well, we're almost about halfway through. I want to kind of
Yeah.
pivot back to
Right.
this turning point or this Charlie Kirk Memorial and play.
Yeah.
I want to focus on Erica Kirk for a second
Okay.
because she's creeping me out. I want to play this one clip first.
Awesome.
That man, that young man, I forgive him.
So there's that, brilliant acting. By the way, I don't think you need to turn off your camera when I share because I
Okay.
think it shows. But I saw this. I've been getting really bad vibes from her ever since I sort of like introduced to this person, since the assassination. And I saw something on Instagram today that really broke it down well. I thought, um, everything from since he died and her, her speech on his channel, her videos that she posted of her by the casket, it all seemed like very much like acting, and I got just a bad vibe from her, like an Illuminati vibe. When there was a picture floating around of her with a Maltese cross pendant, I kind of put together like, what if she is Dames of Malta? Because if you look up anybody who's watching this, look up Dames of Malta right now. They all have the same look. Like they have this long blonde hair, sort of like a little vampiric. I even talked about in my video about vampires that I believe the Order of Malta is like an old Catholic order of vampires. And, they're very much involved in the Red Cross and in blood trafficking and in, secretly in drinking blood. And so we got to be really careful, like who is Charlie Kirk for one, and like who is his wife for another thing. Because even if Charlie Kirk was a good person, the whole cabal's MO this whole time has been, look at the wives. Q told us, follow the
Yep.
wives, look into the wives. So was Erica Kirk some kind of a handler that was some kind of a honeypot? And obviously, this is what Twitter really erupted over after the memorial was her throwing up the classic Illuminati hand sign, which also, some say means I love you in sign language, but it's also like very well known of like George Bush, Hillary Clinton, every death metal band. Like this is like the devil horns. And it's like, why would you do this at a funeral? Even if it does mean I love you, like why would you do this if you're on the right side of these things? Very odd. And so, for even deeper evidence, and I'm not sure if I want to read all of this, but this is screen caps of the Instagram post that I saved that someone called the Erica Kirk files, and it goes through a lot of her background of being a Miss Arizona 2012 Trump pageant girl casting director. Now Trump's connections to this is also very strange. That I mean, I gotta say, like it's somewhat incriminating for Trump. If she's bad, it might seem like Trump is bad too. But at the same time, maybe Trump has switch sides or who I it's so complex. His face when she was flashing this sign seemed like he was a little bit like cringing. And there's other faces that he made when she was embracing him where he also seemed like he was a little bit cringing. And so, you don't see Trump making the hand sign like that ever
Yeah.
because he knows what it means and he doesn't want to associate himself with the wrong side of these things. And so like what the hell is she thinking? And so she ran the Romanian Angels, which was an orphan ministry in Constantinople, Romania. Locals accused it of child trafficking.
Man.
And she was like starting NGOs when she was 17 years old.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like when Charlie started, he started really young too. It's like,
Yeah, I went into that
but
in my last video that he had like this rich, it wasn't like him, there was like a rich co-founder that financed it, and he was kind of like the young face because no one wants to look at the fat old rich guy. So her resume read like a honeypot. So this is an important one. Her father was DOD and Raytheon Israeli division. Her parents were prominent Zionists. Her grandfather had been knighted in Sweden into the Independent Order of Vikings, which sounds like some sort of like a quasi-Masonic order, Masonic derivative order. She was very wealthy before meeting Charlie. So yeah, I don't want to. This goes into like nine different pages of this, but there's like so
man,
much about her. Was she? And I'm not sure what angle like this person's coming from either. If they're trying to incriminate Trump too, and so you got to research this stuff and see if it's true as well. But and she looks a lot like a honeypot. All the signs are there essentially. The Maltese cross is a big one for me, and so I just intuitively I get a very dark vibe from her. And yeah, I'm getting the vibe that she was the handler. And now she's in control of TP USA. And, some have speculated that it might have been Ben Shapiro, but now it's Erica Kirk. And so was this, I'm still under the presumption that this Charlie Kirk and the organization was getting a little bit too independent for an organization that's taking hundreds of millions of dollars from essentially cabal. And this was the reining it back in. But what's your thoughts?
yeah, because I mean, I haven't looked into her, but I did find the funeral, the picture of her over the casket and those ha in his hands. I'm like, those don't even look like real hands, you know? Because I mean, they just showed his hands. That's it. They didn't show the body, anything like that. So it's like, you know, it's almost as if is from what I take it as it is that Israel's pissed off, right? Because they thought their golden boy and their golden girl were gonna stay true to the blue. But then you have the rig for red, the shot her around the world. Um, I mean everything leading up, it happened on 9/10. Um, even the verse she gave before Charlie went out there, um, if you look it up, I think it was Romans. Let's see. Let's see. Greek. It was 461. So it was Romans 46:1. January 4th, 2018. What makes a movie good? Great actors. And there's a question mark. Now, we look at this whole thing, right? So, and then I guess there were a bunch of witches that put a hex on Charlie and his wife and them the day before, and he had an exorcist come over and try. It's, I mean, these witches are, there's a big problem because it's like, which witches, right? Was it the Mothers of Darkness? Was it, because I mean, if you think about it, it's like, because once you break that Israel spell that America's been under, and once people realize that the God in the Bible is not a good God, never was. So when they say, "Oh, God promised us this land," it's like, well, and then you're like, and then you see Lord in there. It's like, well, why do why does the why do the British have House of Lords and everything? I mean, isn't that idolatry? I mean, shouldn't the little hats be a little pissed off about that too? But they're hand in glove. That's why when Trump went over there to take over the UK, now Israel's just they're basically in a fight for survival and they won't survive because everybody's against them. All these countries are cutting off anything having to do with them. They won't accept any of their visas and their passports, nothing.
Yeah,
Now,
more and more European countries are saying they'll arrest Bibi if he steps in their country. I think Italy was the latest.
yep. And that's why this week, because Bibi's in New York right now for this whole UN meeting. That's why
And
the
I
one,
think he's coming to the White House before the end of September for the fourth time this year. So I'm
yeah,
hoping that might be
the catalyst.
the final, yeah, the straw that breaks the camel's back.
I mean, it makes sense because on 9:30, what they say, what is it? When do you blow a whistle, right? At the end of a game or at the end of the fourth quarter. September 30th is the end of the fourth quarter, the new financial quarter. And now the Republicans and they're like, whatever. Because the Democrats are like, oh, we want to come to the table. We want this, we want that. It's like, you guys don't get a say in anything. That's why Hakeem and Chuck Schumer and all them, Trump's like, I'm not meeting with any of them. You guys are all dead to me. Why should he sit down at all with Schumer? None of them. And
Well,
now,
yeah, and I've
now
heard that they've been blocking all of his nominees for a lot of different government agencies. And just recently, he decided, like, I'm not even going to try to get Democrat votes anymore. We're just going to go with, the Republican majority and to get this done faster, because then, like, that's been hanging up the whole agenda of these people I think they're already in the positions, but they've been trying to, like, tread
get Senate
lightly so that
confirmed.
they would
Yeah.
actually get confirmed. And so they're just saying, like, fuck it now, do what we need to do. It's not going to be politically correct. The Democrats are going to go ape shit, but we got to get this done.
Well, then, if you have a shutdown on the first, right? That's why it's like perfect timing, right? Because the Mickey Mouse clock, right? Trump came out yesterday at the UN meeting at 10:08 a.m. Same time it's on the Mickey Mouse clock. He left at 11:04. Actionable, right? He went in there and tore them all new ass. But also with the whole UN, you had the broken escalator and the broken teleprompter. And they were joking a week before about breaking the escalator on him. And just so happens that when him and Melania step on it, then it stops. It's like, who's funding this? And
I mean, yeah,
especially
to insult the president of this country in our own
home
country,
country, yeah,
they need to be shut
that's
down.
and I think that's what's coming because Trump's like, hey, if anybody wants to come with us, you know, it's like Jerry Maguire, you know, who's coming with me? And then as soon as the speech was done, everybody got up, everybody's moving around, and they're beating the gavel. I'm like, pfft, nobody cared. And then I guess when BB came out, everybody left. Everybody walked out.
Naturally.
It's just so dumb. But yeah, I do have that Stephen Miller. The it's 3 minutes and 58 seconds.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's play
People I
it.
could share it.
And just so you know, it works better if you once you click share, if you go to advanced and video file,
Okay.
it works better than if you just share it as like a window.
All right. Gee,
All right, allow.
let's see. Let's see. Okay. So I go to advanced
Mm-hmm.
and go to video file.
Yeah. I just figured that out recently. So that when you're moving your mouse, it doesn't show like the, you know, the play button anymore. So
Oh shit. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'll have to mess around with that. Let's see. I have to just show it this way. Screen.
Anyway, you can get it up, will be great.
Oh, hold on a second.
There you
messed
go.
up. Hold
Oh.
up. 1 second. Those too damn little. All right.
When I see Erica and her strength and her courage, I'm reminded of a famous expression. The storm whispers to the warrior that you cannot withstand my strength. And the warrior whispers back, I am the storm. Erica is the storm. We are the storm. And our enemies cannot comprehend our strength, our determination, our resolve, our passion. Our lineage and our legacy hails back to Athens, to Rome, to Philadelphia, to Monticello. Our ancestors built the cities. They produced the art and architecture. They built the industry. Erica stands on the shoulders of thousands of years of warriors, of women who raised up families, raised up city, raised up industry, raised up civilization, who pulled us out of the caves and the darkness into the light. The light will defeat the dark. We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil. They cannot imagine what they have awakened. They cannot conceive of the army that they have arisen in all of us. Because we stand for what is good, what is virtuous, what is noble. And to those trying to incite violence against us, those trying to foment hatred against us, what do you have? You have nothing. You are nothing. You are wickedness, you are jealousy, you are envy, you are hatred. You are nothing. You can build nothing. You can produce nothing. You can create nothing. We are the ones who build. We are the ones who create. We are the ones who lift up humanity. You thought you could kill Charlie Kirk? You have made him immortal. You have immortalized Charlie Kirk. And now millions will carry on his legacy. And we will devote the rest of our lives to finishing the causes for which Charlie gave his last measure of devotion. You cannot defeat us, you cannot slow us, you cannot stop us, you cannot deter us. We will carry Charlie and Erica in our heart every single day and fight that much harder because of what you did to us. You have no idea the dragon you have awakened. You have no idea how determined we will be to save this civilization, to save the West, to save this republic. Because our children are strong, and our grandchildren will be strong, and our children's children's children will be strong. And what will you leave behind? Nothing, nothing. To our enemies, you have nothing to give, you have nothing to offer, you have nothing to share, but bitterness. We have beauty, we have light, we have goodness, we have determination, we have vision, we have strength. We built the world that we inhabit now, generation by generation, and we will defend this world. We will defend goodness, we will defend light, we will defend virtue. You cannot terrify us, you cannot frighten us, you cannot threaten us, because we are on the side of goodness, we are on the side of God.
Well, that was an amazing speech.
On
Other
his dying day, we find
Sorry.
everything.
other than that being all about Erica Kirk, with what's come to light about her, that was an amazing speech. So, well, I mean, should we trust Erica Kirk since Stephen Miller does?
Man, everything it's almost as if it had to be this way. As crazy as it sounds, everything runs in cycles. You have Hadrian with Antinius. Antinius sacrificed himself for Hadrian. Hadrian turned around and, gave him all this laurels and, immortalized them. But then after that, oh boy got a little pissed. Because that's when the Bar Kokhba revolt with them happened. And he went in and wiped out 589,000 of them. He got rid of the religion. He said, nope, started throwing them out, everything. Like, banned it. So now when Trump's talking about religion, right? He didn't say religions, he said religion. Because we were not based off of Judeo-Christian value. There is no Judeo-Christian values. That's all 1909, Schofield Bible garbage. Because they want us to believe that, they're the chosen ones. Just and to make them out like we're not. But who are they chosen by? Right? Maybe we'll have that answer here shortly. Because this three-eye atlas, it's on its way. There's something that it did yesterday that's really weird. I'm sure everybody will pick up on this. It was a golden orb, right? It's twice the size of the sun, by the way. That's what they said. And it was reddish in color, and now it turned green. So now, is that a castle? Is the Keystone Three-Eye Atlas? Because then you have to look at this, that Operation Warp Speed that Trump put in, right? What's Charlie Kirk's middle name?
I've got a pretty cool picture of an artist's conception of Three-Eye Atlas there.
Yeah. And you think, it's massive. If you could trace it all the way out there, they're coming. Because remember, with Warp Speed, and then you look at Charlie Kirk, his middle name is James, like James T. Kirk, right?
Mm-hmm.
USS Enterprise. And 1960, yesterday, is when they launched the USS Enterprise, the first nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. Odd, isn't it? And then you have Trump with ties to Charlie's dad, because his dad was the main architect on Trump Tower. Now, when you look at Trump Tower, all the buildings around it, it's like a cube going up, right? Except Trump's. Trump's steps in. So it's not a black cube. It's a deconstructed black cube. So even using his building, he's showing what he's doing through symbolism. For those that have eyes to see, ears to hear, because everything's in the military's hands now. Because especially what happened today. Now, there was this massive... Now, everybody's talking about like all these Supreme Court decisions. Today probably was the biggest because the Humphreys decision in Supreme Court, right? It was overturned, and that gave Trump full reign to reinvent the government. And the funny thing is, we talked about this last week. The National Partnership for Reinventing Government, NPR, U.S. Government Reform Initiative, launched in 1993 by Vice President Al Gore. Its goal was to make the federal government work better, cost less, and get results Americans care about. Aim to streamline processes, cut bureaucracy with a focus on overhead costs beyond issues addressable by statute, and implement innovative solutions. It was active until 1998. Why was it only active until then? One of the targeted bureaucracies was USAID. And if they would have kept that implemented past 1998, like the 2001, because remember that's when Bush stepped in. But when did the Clinton Foundation start up? 98? I don't know. 98, a little bit right around there. So they want to make sure they kept USAID out of this whole National Partnership for Reinventing Government so that they could funnel all their money through it. That's why we're $37 trillion in debt. It's all these philanthro-capitalists that think that they like to be called philanthropists, but they're running it as a for-profit business by using LLCs. That's why them tracing the money, you got to take Delaware out. All the LLCs in Delaware. It's on Orange Street. Go figure. I think it's like 1430 or 1420 Orange Street. Just one building. They have 250,000 businesses that get their mail there.
And they're probably all majority owned by BlackRock and Vanguard.
Mm-hmm. And all these, LLCs that are funneling this money, because with the philanthropies and all these foundations, the government gives them all this grant money, and then they pass it out as they see fit. But then they're turning around saying, oh, we're philanthropists. We're doing the right thing. It's like, well, where are you getting your money? It's as simple as that. Because if you have the Giving Pledge and the Good Club, where you have to give all of your money back, in foundations, you have to give away, you have to donate 5% annually of the funds, right? Well, using an LLC, you don't have to do all that. You could sidestep that, and then you link that up with a 501c4. Now you have strict lobbying power. Now you could use the government's money against them to push legislation that is beneficial for you. That's all philanthro-capitalism. Basically, one hand wash the other. It's like you're not saying, oh, hey, we're going to hand this out. We want to do this for the goodness of mankind. It's like there's a reason why there's still homeless people in America, starving people in Africa, starving people here. But yet they're all billionaires. And they're like, we want to help the world. It's like, then give them your money. What do you need ours for? But they signed that Giving Pledge where all their money, 90% of their money has to be donated back into the Giving Pledge so they can funnel it through their foundations and all their shadow networks to keep this perpetual shadow war going. They're evil. All brought to you by Little Hats.
All that philanthropy. I was actually just dealing with what I think is Little Hats and BlackRock this week that I got to tell people about shipping disaster with UPS and DHL. I actually looked at my shipping statements, and there's all kind of hidden fees. Like they're charging me, multiple times the cost of the shipping label secretly. That is basically like negating the whole like profit on the orders. And so I'm not even sure if I can ship internationally anymore because it's like there's kind of no way around it. Like these people have a monopoly. I looked up, who's the CEO of UPS, and guess who? It doesn't say her religion online, but you look at her and it's like clearly a Kamala voter. And yeah, it's just there is so much corruption. And what's concerning me is that I don't see Trump addressing like that type of corruption, like what you're talking about, what I'm talking about, BlackRock taking over everything. That I wish he would talk about that more. I think what he talks about is important, like at the UN and stuff. But I wish he would focus more on this like Marxist corporate Jewish takeover of literally everything that's trying to enslave people and, basically bring us into this communism disguised as capitalism model. But we're getting close to the end of this, I think.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get into a little bit of like the really good news, the pure good news. We've had a lot of sort of like mixed signals from this memorial and across the board. I mean, I do agree with you that I think that the White Hats are still like coming up to this big Saving Israel for Last finale. And it's been a long haul because they've had so much support, so much brainwashing that we have to reverse, decades and decades of it before people are ready for this. But, this Charlie Kirk situation has really got people talking about Israel a lot. And a lot of people, seeing that they murder people that don't agree with them, especially if you're a big name.
Yeah.
But this RFK Trump co-announcement about discovering the reason for autism. And I love this AI image of Trump as a doctor, but there's no negative side to this. This is like finally Trump started the conference off saying, "I've waited 20 years to say this," and probably even longer than that. But the mainstream media is backpedaling as hard as they can to try to cover up what this conference was really about, what it really covered, because most of the mainstream media coverage, all the headlines were that Trump says that autism is caused by Tylenol. And I wanted to watch this conference live, and I tuned into it midway through, after Trump and RFK had both already spoken. And so I went straight to the mainstream articles before because it was still going live, and I wasn't able to restart it from the beginning yet. And I started getting pissed. I was like, "What? He's just saying it's Tylenol. Like, what about the vaccines and stuff?" All right, we are on YouTube, and I just came off of a 1 week ban for medical misinformation, so I got to be really careful here. But this is mainstream. Like, look at the picture on the screen right now. It's like Tylenol literally said in 2017 on their X page, "We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking time to voice your concerns today." And so we're seeing this huge push from mainstream media since this press conference saying, "Oh, Trump's just pushing quack science," and what they always say about it. It's
Yeah.
contradicting standards, and Trump draws unproven link between autism and Tylenol during pregnancy. And it's like literally Tylenol themselves have said, like, don't take this during pregnancy. Like, yo, sorry, all these dumbass doctors are telling people to take it and telling it to give it to their kids before they get injected or after they get injected to try to mitigate this fever. But this is proven science, and they've stated it publicly from the official source. And so the mainstream media is just really shooting itself in the foot here. But it's even more, if you actually watch the whole press conference, Trump went through everything. I mean, he said, like, no Tylenol during pregnancy was just the beginning. He said, we're taking the mercury out of the vaccines, we're taking the aluminum out of the vaccines. He, recommended multiple times. He basically did the same speech twice. He did the whole speech in the beginning, and then everyone else spoke, and he literally did the same speech again at the end and like re-emphasized things like so hard. He emphasized do not take Tylenol so hard, and a lot of times without even any other qualifier, which really made me think that he's basically telling anyone do not take Tylenol. Like, we'll have to do a little more research on exactly why, but he seemed to be very persistent on that. And he recommended to space out the vaccines. He said the hepatitis B shouldn't be introduced until they're, 13, entering puberty, because they're not going to be sexually active before then, hopefully, if we get rid of these pedophiles. And he introduced the idea that leucovorin can be used for autism treatment. And so, I mean, this was a powerhouse press conference. I think like the most solid science that they presented was, associating the Tylenol, but he definitely threw in some major hints about, the involvement of vaccines and, specifically talking about the mercury and the aluminum, because, I'm not like a vaccine advocate or anything, but it's common sense that if you put these toxic mercury and aluminum with the mercury and the thimerosal in these things, like, they're going to be toxic. And, whether you believe in vaccines or not, the science of the detrimental effects of mercury and aluminum is not questioned. So if we could remove those from the vaccines, we may not have as much of a problem with these things causing things like autism. And so Probably just got myself banned off YouTube again, but fuck it. If it's complete bullshit. Whoever's running YouTube, that you can't even talk about holistic health. In my previous video, all I talked about was detox. And, I'm not making any claims. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. This is like common sense stuff that's being reported in the mainstream media. So, turn off the channel, whatever. We're on Rumble.
Yeah. And
What did you get out of the autism press conference?
well, when he brought up the hepatitis B, right? And he's like, why are they giving this to babies? We're like, you know why? Because the bris, when those rabbis eat the foreskin, they pass on hepatitis B to the kids. That's why they give them a hepatitis B shot vaccine. Because like, why would kids need this? That's why. Just like circumcision, it wasn't supposed to happen, but then here they come. They start bringing all their medicine and everything like that and saying, "Oh no, we're going to go ahead and do this." And they're just it's an evil, evil, evil tribe. And no matter how much we slice it or dice it, they can sit here and say, "Oh no, we're with you." It's like it's your religion, man. That's it. That's the problem. Because you have these rabbinic Jews and the Sanhedrins, and they're still alive and well. I mean, and then they want to meet Trump the first term. It's like, no wonder why he's like, I dealt with you guys before 2,000 years ago. Really don't need this shit now. Thank you, no thank you. I mean, they're just so evil. And then the 80 jab schedule for kids, for infants. And then when President Trump mentioned, he's like, well, did anybody think about like when you're putting all these in together that there's like, you know, an adverse reaction?
Mhm.
It's, I mean, look at that. That's just,
Well, yeah, he specifically said that to space these out, and then he also specifically said that sometimes a combination of three of them, like specifically with MMR, could be much worse than having the three individually spaced out. And so I mean, he spoke a lot about the V's in that presser, and that's not being reported by the mainstream media at all. You have to go to
nope.
the White House's YouTube page and watch it for yourself. But he put out the warning big time, and they did not sugarcoat it much. I mean,
And-
sugarcoated it a little bit. Like
yeah,
he stopped short of saying, "Don't take any of these things."
yeah.
But he put he put some seeds of doubt in your mind if you're pregnant or considering whether like what to do with your baby. Like he definitely and he stated like this is my opinion. He's like I'm gonna speak more bluntly than these other doctors, but this is my opinion, and obviously is a very informed opinion as well as president, someone that's been researching this, someone that's raised four children himself, and someone that knows what most people don't know. Like I would
Yeah.
take, even though he's not a doctor, sometimes you can't always trust Like I've seen doctors on Twitter saying, "Oh, like I gave all my kids Tylenol. Like now I'm scared." I'm like, well, should have done more research. It's like medical
Yeah.
school's not teaching these things.
Ignorance. And that's the thing. You have all the left, they're going around. Now they're all these pregnant lefties. I don't know who's knocking them up, but yeah, solid. But and they're down in Tylenol. It's like you're that so enraged with hate of him that you're willing to risk the health of your unborn child because of your narcissism. I mean, what is wrong with you? It, you know, well, I can't get an abortion, so I might as well start chucking Tylenol. It's like, you got, no, no, they should just sterilize you guys. You know,
I read on Twitter today that one woman's actually had been hospitalized and put on a ventilator because she took so much Tylenol in retaliation to Trump that she, put herself in the hospital and she's pregnant. Oh my God.
well, at least he
I
has a
mean,
ventilator.
they're a dying breed. It's like these rabid leftists that will do anything Trump says not to do. it's like they're not going to survive too many more generations is the bottom line. And
This is
so
the last one, I
kind of
think.
just got to wait them out, but it's going to be rough until we do wait them out.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be good when I mean, and he's just he's saying the same stuff that has been out there for years from all these medical journals, but the media still they don't want to cover it because they get that pharmaceutical money.
Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of breezed through all these photos pretty fast, but we had this one that literally every single one of these is mainstream, not even media. These are medical journal publications, PubMed. I had another one like, Mount Sinai, AA Pediatrics. They're all saying, Tylenol has this connection with ADHD and autism. And the mainstream
And
media is now trying to say that this is like unproven science. And it's like mainstream medicine has been warning people for years. It's just like this Tylenol is like one of the most common medications, and so no one wants to admit that it might be harmful.
yeah,
I mean, just even though it's something simple like that, think about how many like millions or billions of dollars just that one company must make per year. I mean,
yeah,
it's like Tylenol or Advil, like it's the two most common medications, right?
yeah. And then you look at it, if the Tylenol has the ability to cause autism in your unborn child, that means that Tylenol has within it some inner ingredients that actually manipulates your DNA. That's scary.
I mean, it might make you retarded as well, no matter what age
Yeah.
you are,
Well, I mean,
or
if after,
dementia.
yeah, I mean, if after all this, if you're still taking it and chugging on, it's like, but like you said, he said it twice. The whole media's there, and yet we haven't heard one thing mentioned about it. It just proves that they hate him. That's all.
And it proves that they hate we the people. They want
Yeah.
little retards running around. They want us to be retarded. They want us dead. They want the population reduced down to 500,000, like I said on the Georgia Guidestones. So, or 500 million rather.
Yeah, because Americans don't dig into that incest stuff like the little hats do. That's why they have so many little 46 chromosome fuck ups running around. Or no, not 40, 47. They have
Hmm.
that extra. Just fucking, it's stupid. I mean, but then you talk chromosomes, like, well, there's X and Y. So now let's talk about genders. It's the science is there. They just came in and started manipulating the science. And it's sad because they make it seem like they want you to go against this whole group and that whole group. And it's like, it's all the same ones that infiltrated all these other groups that had everybody turn on one another and pushing socialism. And I mean, hell, who was it? Yuri Barashnikov, like back in the 70s. He even warned about the United States, about the socialism takeover in the United States. And he was an ex-KGB, he was a KGB agent. It's like, because it's communism, guys. No. He's like, that's why they were getting rid of it out of there. But who came up with communism? The little hats. That's
And I
why.
mean, they took over the medical industry too, the media and the medical industry. That's why we do have almost universal circumcision in the USA, is
Mhm.
because it's the little hats that took over the medical industry through Rockefeller, which was being funded by Rothschild, which is little hats.
Yeah,
And so we can thank them for all of this.
every bit of it. And then all their cronies, like you mentioned, you got the pharmaceuticals, you got banking, you got the colleges.
The
You know,
colleges too taken over
yep,
by the
and all
same
these,
group
yep, Ivy
and
League
now teaching
schools.
Marxism.
Yeah, because that Karlin Boryenko or Borshenko that we watch, she does all these about Antifa and everything. Like she infiltrated like some of these groups. And when you start like listening to this, it's like they have all these professors on there. It's like, so, and they're like, well, when I read Marx or when I read Engels, like, where are you reading Karl Marx? And then where are you reading Frederick Engels? And then you look at this crime think and you realize that, well, they publish all these books and everything, and they distribute them in the universities, and they actually use them for studies on anarchism, on a class of anarchism and all that. It's like, why do we have a class on anarchism in colleges? And we're funding these colleges. Look at Berkeley, UCLA, USC. I mean, all of them, Columbia, Harvard, and that's why Trump's nailing all of them. He's going after them on anti-Semitism so that he could, because you got to play the part, because you have to find the two nuclear subs. That's what they're hunting right now. The hunt for Red October. Because you have
Well, and just recently they declared Antifa a terrorist organization. So,
um,
I mean, even though I was hoping that we would have like the official storm and like the EBS by like midsummer, it's delayed, but I am still seeing progress. I gotta say, even though my getting impatient, I've been tested. I'm certainly being tested financially. Like we are seeing progress. I'm just not sure how long it's going to take. And now, Juan has said some things like, "Oh, it's going to be another 10 years," but not till
no
like the
way.
storm, but like till it's all fully cleaned up, which I can understand that, but I think we need to see some kind of like a major breakout point for the white hats. And another thing that Juan O'Savin said recently, and not an interview with me, but on Nino, I think, was that the way to break trauma-based mind control is with another trauma. And so that may seem fucked up, which it kind of is, but in a way it's true that the only way to undo something is to, undo it the way it was done for anything. It's like building an engine is the only way to put it back together is the same way you took it apart. And
Yep.
so, although it's traumatic to go through, that might be sort of what people need. And that might have been part of the purpose that Charlie Kirk served with that execution. Not that I necessarily believe that was white hat, but a lot of people do. I was even told to wake up in the comments of my video about Charlie Kirk because I'm not just saying it was completely white hat and he's still alive. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but like, that's a little too fucked up for me to believe it's 100% white hat. I think maybe the white hats let it happen,
Well, I
but
mean, and the thing is, if you didn't let it happen, you wouldn't have the Great Awakening because what this has
exactly.
done. You
And
know,
the whole thing of like, if the enemy is going to destroy themselves, don't stop them. And so if
yep.
if they're going to martyr this person and it's going to make so many more young Republicans convert, maybe like don't give them a warning.
Well, and the thing is they're pissed off about Charlie letting, you know, anti-Zionists speak at the events. It's like, well, they come up to the mic. So what are you supposed to say? It's like if he's going up there, it's like, have a conversation. It's like, well, during any conversation, anybody can be persuaded with with the correct information. And that's why Charlie was stepping away. And when he said that on that PBD broadcast about, was there a stand down order on October 7th? Because he's like, I've been to Gaza, I've been to Jerusalem, I've taken a helicopter from Jerusalem to Gaza at 45 minutes. So you're gonna say that there were 6 hours that you guys didn't do anything? But then yet you have all these cars that are burned up from these Jewish space lasers. It's like, so if they had all these Hamas people come over and they were stealing cars and taking people back and kidnapping people, where are all the cars? Where is everything? Because if they went over there in paragliders, I mean, it's not like it's a city right next door. It's the most surveil. It's more Gaza is more surveilled than the White House. And you're gonna sit here, the gates were open, nobody was there, and then they kidnapped IDF soldiers. Come on,
Oh, October 7th, total bullshit.
yeah.
But it's crazy, we still have a good portion of even the original Q movement people, the Anons, who will say, oh, well, like Trump's owned by Israel now because he won't release the Epstein files. I mean, what would you say to those people?
Well, because he doesn't have the Epstein files. Sessions and Huber have the Epstein files. then you go back and relook at all the drops. I mean, it spells it out in there. They started. That's why when Sessions left, because he was a captain in the U.S. Army and he was also Attorney General. That means he could be a JAG. He went to be a JAG, and then he was a judge, a military judge. So now you look at this whole thing, it's like, well, if you have 600 JAG officers coming into DC to try misdemeanors, they're making them military judges. It's like, well, why are they misdemeanors? You mean high crimes are misdemeanors? You mean like Nuremberg 2.0? But that's why, like, misdemeanors, people are like, oh, okay, because they're so fucking stupid. You know, Democrats are like, oh, well, yeah, misdemeanors, all the traffic tickets. Like, why would you have JAG officers come in to become military? You know, because it all goes around that ruling today about reinventing government. Because now you're reinventing the wheel, is what we're doing. Because now he could fire anybody. Because up till that, was it 1935? FDR came out with this fucking bullshit law that, you know, it pretty much handcuffed the executive, where it let all these independent, you know, these independent parts of the government just be completely autonomous. Like have no oversight, no nothing. You can't fire them. It's like, no, that's a bureaucracy. That's the problem. Because if you're not doing your job, then you get fired. That's it. And that's the thing. They can't say, oh, well, Trump's doing this because he's a dictator. It's like, okay, explain why Bill Clinton did it. Explain why Obama did it. It's the same thing. They're like, oh, those. It's like Clinton did it and Obama did it. It's not when Trump does it, he's an evil asshole. Kids are going to die. We gave them enough money. Where is it? But it all goes into the coffers of these lobbyists and, you know, no back for them. Because it's like if you're making 170 grand a year, how are you worth millions of dollars? That doesn't make sense. So there's like a lot, and it's I truly think that by I think next Easter is going to be like the whole flip.
Well, I have heard big arrests even by the end of October,
Oh,
potentially like Obama and Clinton.
oh, I think it's going to be earlier than that because Grassley came out with a cryptic message again. You know, being 91, 92 years old, everybody's like, ah. But then he said something about when the corn points down, it's ready to harvest. And let's see, it was when do the ears of corn start to point down? Right? So they have maturity stage. Eventually the ears will fully mature and dry out, leading to harvest. I asked approximately when in September, October is the maturity stage. Now they have early varieties. They may reach maturity by late September. Mid-season varieties, these usually mature around the first to second week of October. And late varieties, these can take until mid to late October to fully mature. But I like that first to second week, that mid-season variety, like an MS mid-season, and maybe the 13's the day. Because October 13th is Columbus Day. And the next day is the 14th, which is exactly 2 weeks before the 28th, the eighth anniversary
Of
D
Q.
before D. Yep.
Should be an interesting couple months. And
Yeah.
we certainly got this satanic sacrifice harvest season kicked off with a bang with the Charlie Kirk thing, which has just given us so many comps. I mean, I think the whole memorial is probably worth rewatching because like I said, like I missed the Stephen Miller piece, and that was like mind blowing. So
Yeah.
screaming, "We are the storm." I mean, it doesn't get much more obvious than that. So
And then giving everybody 3 minutes, 3.0. It's like, God, guys are just, I mean, everything's power threes. It's like, everything's done twice, but then you have the power threes. It's a whole cycle. It's almost like you have to break the power three cycle, the Trinity, because that's what the Freemasons go by.
all right, well, Jason, it's been great
Yep.
having you on. I really appreciate your analysis.
Thank you so much for
Want
having
to
me.
remind everyone to go subscribe to Jason's channel, We Not Me, on Rumble. You just told me your YouTube's been deleted, right?
Yes.
You got
Yes.
canned permanently.
Yes.
I'm sorry about that. Sorry to
Yeah.
hear that. Anything else you want to tell people before we wrap this up? Promote anything or?
I mean, that's about it. And we have our show tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central on Rumble. We Not Me. So tune in. Be really, really good time. A lot to talk about.
Oh yeah. And I think this went pretty well, I thought. So we'll probably do this again. Maybe not every week, because like I said, I'm like,
Yeah.
I might even be having to shut down my warehouse. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen to me, but like we're just not seeing any sales. It's like we might be one of these small business statistics that went bankrupt soon. Hopefully not, but like I gotta be realistic here. And so I may be working at McDonald's instead of making YouTube videos. We'll see. So
Fuck that. You know what we do? We have a Q&A with you and I. So if you buy like, I don't know, if you buy like a poster or two from you or something like that, and then we could have like a Q&A, like a private Q&A with them.
there's possibilities. We're gonna feel it out, but I gotta throw in a little plug for my own thing here, dsmp.io, all these posters you see behind me, and much more. We got crystals, we got body products, and we even have a new sale section. Some of our biggest crystals are on sale. So check out the new sale category. And yeah, subscribe here. New Templars on Rumble, D.S.M.P. Nexus on YouTube, hanging on by a thread. Hopefully not getting this video banned once again. But that will be it for this one. We're going to keep monitoring everything. It's just like rapid fire. I mean, 4 major things just in this week was a lot to analyze. And it might even be picking up from here. So we'll be back soon. Hang in there, everybody. And we'll see you next time. New Templars.
He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think.
You've been living in a dream world, Neo. This is the world as it exists today.
Welcome to the future of finance. Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people.
Coffee flow store. You'll find out. You'll find out.
Just now we saw a black triangular craft fly right